Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hindu Explainer series. I am Kushagra Goel and very warm greetings from Law Prep Tutorial. I hope all of you are doing well, taking good care of your health, and you have got yourself registered on COVID and have got the first dose of the COVID vaccines for yourself. So, beginning with the doubts from the newspaper, once again there was a lot of miscommunication or lack of understanding in terms of economic concepts. All right, that how do you read, what to do about economics related. So on that regard, I have decided we'll do a specific video or probably a live session to explain you that, because I can't use this space to provide for that. However, in terms of economic related articles, when we do the revision series and along with the news that comes on now, we'll provide, like, I'll tell you the specific things that you need to note down. All right, and in terms of one quick suggestion for you all who haven't been able to understand economy at large. So for example, the very specific thing that you may see today is that fuel prices are rising, and if you consult yourself or if you compare how much of a strain it is in terms of you or on your household, or for example on the vegetables, or all right, so just do a quick thing that how economics impacts you or any specific economic event impacts your life on a day-to-day basis. All right, do one thing today: note down the fuel prices of in your city, note down the price of the vegetables that are usually available all around the year. Any two three you can pick. You can pick milk, you can pick a biscuit packet, or you can pick another vegetable. Note it down, revisit it 15 days later in terms of how, in comparison to the fuel prices, and you will notice how this affects it. All right, similarly, you may ask your parents in terms of how much expenditure they were making in the last month on vegetables, how much they are making this month. You will see a difference. Do this exercise over a month, you'll realize how economic impacts you. This is the basic understanding that you would need to read these economic articles. To understand, see, economics is more about at home. You don't have to always look at the big picture, but sometimes look at it a little closer to your home to realize how it affects your life. And only then you will be able to appreciate these policies or articles. All right. So my suggestion, one, do this, and second is keep reading these articles, which we highlight are important. Trust me, over a period of time, you'll start getting a hang of it. All right, as you get closer to how economics affects you. All right. Then there was one very specific doubt: what is the difference between a commission and a committee? A commission could be an inquiry commission. So, for example, the Prime Minister has constituted a commission to deliberate upon the faulty delivery of PM CARES supplied ventilators. Similarly, there has been a commission, there was a Shah commission to inquire into the exigencies that had taken place during the emergency. However, a committee is something that is there to provide suggestions. All right, a commission has a specific mandate for a specific purpose. A committee is basically an advisory body in terms of government. All right. Then moving on, another doubt that was there. So we discussed yesterday that how the government has tightened the rules in terms of what can be published. All right. So in that regard, there was a question: does it apply only to government employees or on private persons also? It applies to government employees because they will be the one taking pension from government. But so what kind of approval would they need? We'll be discussing that today also. So I'll address this doubt there. All right. Then moving on, another doubt that was there is related to, in general, about the Tulsa massacre. All right. So in the Tulsa massacre, what happened there? It is similar to a riot or a one side. So Tulsa massacre. Massacre means that one community was targeted by another community. Tulsa is a place. It was the Black Wall Street area, that is it known. All right. It is the area where a lot of African American investors resided, and approximately 300 of them were massacred by ultra white supremacist, all right, that there was a racist angle to it, that we are superior, how dare you indulge in these financial institutions to put you in your place. So this had happened in 1921. Joe Biden has now become the first US president to officially recognize that this was a black community targeted massacre by the white community. It is also part of systematic racism for which he has been campaigning against. That see, the US has systematic racism in the country, and we, as a state, we need to address it. It is similar to someone campaigning that yes, there is caste prejudice in the society. People do, Indian society at large is divided on basis of caste, and therefore we need to keep taking steps to address it. We need to see, for example, the Hathras incident in Uttar Pradesh, how it was a caste, not only just a violence against women, but it was also predominated in perspective of caste dynamics, all right. So it is calling out what it is for what it is, all right. Apart from this, there was another doubt related to in terms of taxation issue, all right. So we'll be talking about that again today. There is another editorial that discusses that, all right. Then moving on, so yesterday I had put up one question for all of you, that in 1953 Vijayalakshmi Pandit had become the first women president of the UNGA. So this is the kind of questions that you can be asked related to topics that are in news. On that note, let's begin with today's newspaper analysis. So on the front page, there is one news: significant progress in sustainable development goals on clean energy and health by Niti Aayog's index. What is this index? It is an index that tracks Indian states' progress on terms of how they are performing on the 16 sustainable development goals. These sustainable development goals are common to countries in general for 2030, all right, that these need to be attained by countries by this timeline, and therefore how are Indian states performing on this, all right. So this is the report. The name of the report: Index and Dashboard 2021, Partnerships in a Decade of Action. So we are beginning with a new decade. This is data for 2020, all right, and it is partnered with the United Nations and Niti Aayog, which is the government think tank. They have compiled the methodology of how this data is compiled, all right. So different sustainable development goals. So while I can't go on the entire way, this is the composite ranking of different states and union territories on the sustainable development goals, all right. So in terms, you can see different states have different rankings. The sustainable development goals are already given here. They're also, this is the image from the Niti Aayog report only. In the description box, I'll provide you with the link so that you can see the report on your own, all right. These are the rankings. Now, because this is specific, this is part of climate change, this is part of development, this is part related to India specific index. So this is a very important composite topic on its own for current affairs, all right, because this is happening very recently also. Therefore, it is something that you cannot ignore, all right. So these are specific sustainable development goals. This is from SET, all right. Then, so what all do you need to note about this? The first is you need to know this list of top performing states. So Kerala composite is the top performing state, and then come next is Tamil Nadu and Himachal Pradesh, all right. They have a same composite ranking, so they are the top 3 states. Then you need to see who are the bottom 3 or the laggards. So on the last is Bihar, Jharkhand and Assam. They are the bottom 3, all right. Union territories are given different ranking. Chandigarh is far ahead even on a state perspective, all right, because it's a very small area. Then you need to see what are the sustainable development goals, all right. So that list is already here. They are there in the list also. They are in the index page. I'm not showing that because browsing through it will be a little time wasting. So the goals: no poverty, removal of hunger altogether, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions. So, in that regard, these are the rankings, all right, which are the states top performing on them, and the composite ranking altogether. So, page 46 of the index report provides for that. So, you can take your notes from here, all right. That rankings become important, the goals become important, all right. Then the last thing, one thing that we need to discuss is in general the overall methodology of getting or what these rankings are. So there is analysis that this year we have already seen that how bad our health infrastructure is, how bad on basic amenities we needed NGOs to step up, civil society to step up to provide for even the most basic things such as hospital beds, even normal bed, basic public healthcare is also not available to Indians at large. So it shows that overall we still need to do a lot of work needs to be put in for India's sustainable growth on different indexes. We also have the most number of polluted cities in the world. So therefore, the rankings actually reflect a little less. So they claim that our cities or all states are performing better than national average on terms of sustainable cities. But if our cities are so sustainable, how do we have the world's highest number of polluted cities? So that is part of criticism and methodology of the index itself. Because these index parameters are a lot more complex in terms of how they arrive at these rankings, it is unlikely that the parameters from this topic will come for you all right. So the rankings and the goals become important from this, the organization and how this report is published annually, that data becomes important, all right. That is what needs to be noted down from this report. Then moving on, journalists needs protection against sedition charges. So Supreme Court quashed a case against senior journalist Vinod Dua, who is a Padma Shri awardee, in terms of its remark. So a sedition case had been filed against him. The court quashing the petition said the time is long past when mere criticism of government was sufficient to constitute sedition. Section 124A. Already we discussed that the court has accepted a petition where it will now limit what sedition would mean. And it has already another petition is pending to quash the section altogether. Those are matters sub judice before the court. However, the court upheld in this petition a case from 1962, a speech given by a politician, Kedarnath Singh, against the state of Bihar. So the state of Bihar had filed the sedition case against the journalist. In that, the court had given a verdict commenting in strong terms upon the measures of act of government so as to ameliorate the condition of the people or to secure the cancellation or alteration of those acts or measures by lawful means, that is to say without exciting those feelings of enmity and disloyalty or which to excitement to public disorder or the use of violence is not sedition. So that you can criticize the government, all right. Now this case in itself becomes very important, plus sedition also. So this is the case of Kedarnath Singh. This is the judgment, a 28-page judgment given by the Supreme Court way back in 1962, all right. Now today I want all you viewers to do just a simple Google text about the case in general. What do you understand? Because then tomorrow I'll do an in-depth analysis of this, all right. What had happened in this case, what were the different facts, And therefore, what did the Supreme Court held? Why do we need to do this? Is because we know in the past 1 year, a lot of cases have been filed under the same section against journalists. Recently also we discussed this topic in terms of sedition petition being quashed or case being quashed against TV channels who had criticized the government. Alright, similarly, sedition has been filed against those journalists who had reported on the second wave of COVID-19. So therefore, this section independently becomes very important from CLAD 2021 perspective for your legal section also. Therefore, we'll talk about it tomorrow. I want all you viewers to do a simple Google search or just a brief of what the case was all about. You can do the speech of Kedarnath Singh in 1962. Alright, go through the context. I'll also provide in the description box the links to the speech. Alright, the speech is listed out in the judgment also. Okay, so we'll be talking about this tomorrow. Alright, because it's very important and I want all you viewers to have some brief idea of what had happened so that then we can discuss, because most of us were not even born when this case was decided. So it is very natural for us to have a brief idea before we discuss something. That would have a more wholesome experience of understanding this. Alright, then moving on, will take all steps to bring back Mehul Choksi, because so this is updates while his case was adjourned by the court. The government, the Ministry of External Affairs has confirmed we will take all the actions possible to bring him back because he is a wanted suspect. Then moving on, we'll be discussing this news, WhatsApp obtaining trick consent of government, where at a later point on the page. Apart from this, talks on with Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson and Moderna to get more vaccines, and the government has provided an advance of 1,500 crore rupees and reserved 30 crore vaccine doses of a Hyderabad based vaccine firm, that is Biological E. Now the company has not come out with the details of its vaccine as of now. Alright, so we need to wait for that details to come out to discuss this. Okay, this was one of the other company which the Prime Minister had visited way back in January, and to see the progress of development of vaccines in India. Alright, then there has been a judgment, action to be taken against Gautam Gambhir and AAP MLA Praveen Kumar. They had come out as providing medical dosage. Now to distribute these medicines you need to be a confirmed medical practitioner. Only then, or you need to have license to do it. Now his organization obviously didn't have it, and that raises questions of how they procured it. So the court has stated that, see, first you do charity, doing charity for some other reason is no charity. That because of whatever reason you did it, it wasn't charity and therefore you are liable. Now action will be taken against them on the same regard. Then moving on the editorial section, there is not much in the national news today. So the main editorial today discusses about the development of rural healthcare that needs fixing, and it needs to be done now. That we need to do a lot more to fix our rural healthcare. People need to be collective responsibility. This has been written by former Chief Minister of Haryana, Bhupendra Singh Hooda. The editorial that apart from center and state governments, the responsibility is also on the people to ensure that such steps are possible. Healthcare is available to people at large, at places that are near to them. And in that regard, our healthcare infrastructure needs to be ramped up fast. Then on the left hand side, speed over optics. The center must act as a procurer and allotter of vaccines and leave distribution to states. So this is in response to what the state governments have been calling, and the Supreme Court also, that the central government should procure the vaccines and distribute it to the state. Delivery of these vaccines should then be left to the state government. That right now there is already a shortage of vaccines, and that shortage can only be fulfilled if the central government procures them. Why? For two reasons. First, international vaccine makers only divulge or give vaccines to the central government. They don't deal with specific state governments of a particular country, because for two reasons. First, they wanted indemnity, and two, they wanted guarantee of payments, because they seek advance payments. Both of this is only available with the central government. Why? Because the drug approving authority, which can grant indemnity. What is this indemnity that foreign manufacturers were looking for? That in case the vaccine causes any adverse impact to a person who has administered the vaccine, the damages that they will then be required to be paid will be paid by the government and not the vaccine manufacturer. This indemnity can only be granted by the central government. The second was resources. So in the union budget, the central government had kept 35,000 crores for procurement of vaccines plus additional 10,000 crores. So the court had also stated use that money to procure this. So therefore the editorial calls that the central government should do it and the state government should provide the delivery of vaccines. So, and the second part of the editorial, which is international arrangements such as COVAX, were premised on India being the large supplier to Africa and several countries across the world. Now, India has imposed a ban on export of vaccines. So therefore, COVAX initiative is also in doldrum, because it was all based on India providing these vaccines. Now, all of that is also in shortfall. Alright, so as India will be able to procure more vaccines from outside sources, it will be able to meet its obligations internationally. Then on the right hand side, comments to avoid long-standing ties. This is talking about the ties between India and Bangladesh and how for political reasons different politicians make different remarks which need to be avoided. This is targeted towards the central government's political party and its politicians who use whatever for their political incentive, and that can threaten ties. So all of this is from political perspective, not targeted towards for general clat reading. Then on the left hand side, digital tax tussles. The world cannot afford a tax war to protect digital sector which has low tax operations. So yesterday also we discussed about basic taxation level for every company, all right, that a global tax level should be arrived at. Now this is a separate matter, all right, but in relation to the same sector. The reason why that in US is pushing for international taxation is that, one, so that these companies do not go to different areas to work and avoid taxes. At the same time, when a specific government tries to tax these companies or businesses of the US, right, which are primarily based in Silicon Valley, the US government puts on tariffs on import that it makes from these countries, which is retaliatory tariffs. This is something of a practice that is prior Joe Biden's predecessor, that is Donald Trump, had initiated, basically to protect. Or the latest policy action comes a few months after the Biden administration similarly approved then suspended tariffs on France, retaliating for its tax impacting firms such as Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Facebook and Microsoft. These are international companies primarily working based out of US, and if domestic countries try to tax them, the US government whoops in to tax the goods that US economy imports from these companies. This can lead to a taxation war, that you tax our businesses, we will tax your businesses, everyone is taxing everyone else. So there are two things that are relevant. One, it puts into focus why we should have a basic minimum taxation, so everyone taxes everyone at a certain level. So there is no scope of unfairness that can come in. Everyone can point out that, see, we have a basic taxation level for everyone common, and this is common to the entire world. The second part of this is that we should avoid retaliatory taxations or tariff or taxation wars between countries. Especially why? because right now the world economy is reeling under the COVID-19 pandemic. It needs to bounce back on growth. If we have uncertain taxation, why do we need a certainty in tax rate? Because let's say you are an investor, you start to or plan to open a factory for electric vehicles. Today there is low taxation on lithium ion batteries, there is low taxation on commodities that are used to manufacture electric vehicles. If that is increased later on, or the taxation level on these commodities keeps on fluctuating on day-to-day basis or year-to-year basis, you cannot set out how much margin of profit you will be able to make. Will doing business become viable? Because if taxes are too high, the business may become unviable. It is in this time, especially when we need economic growth, certainty of taxation, especially between allied countries of the West and or liberal democracies, is paramount for a continued growth to recover from COVID-19 pandemic. So one is related to digital taxation, and the second is about sustained growth and how fluctuating or inconsistency in tax policy can have negative effect on business growth. Then moving on, information rules, technology rules, a case of overreach. I suggest all of you to give this a read. In general, to understand different perspectives. Alright, this is all suggestion based on different individuals working in this sector to understand these rules more. Alright, and we'll do a discussion about it tomorrow. Alright, because these are very specific suggestions and understanding of the intermediary rules. So we'll be talking about it tomorrow specifically in a little more depth. Alright, then moving on, apart from this, a new home for old artifacts that the South Block and North Block will be made the museums, or the National Museum of Delhi the National Museum will be shifted to these buildings, and it will provide far more space. On the other national news, so the one major scheme that the central government has launched under food security is the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. Under this, free rations are provided to a population, right? So in this regard, payments or receipts of this are still pending for May. 30% of them. Hunger has risen in India post COVID-19, so therefore these recipients is very important. Then apart from this, the front page, WhatsApp is indulging in anti-user practices. So the government, in response to the case that has been filed against the government's IT rules, the case proceeding have been going on. The government is now claiming that WhatsApp itself has a new privacy policy, and by not coming under the new intermediary rules, it is trying to put its privacy policy out of the legal ambit. This is the stance that the government of India has made before the court. That while they are trying to claim that traceability in itself is a threat to privacy, their own new privacy policy is a threat to privacy at large, and our rules are trying to protect the users in case of privacy breach. So this is the arguments going on between government and WhatsApp. We need to wait for the final judgment. Then moving on the other national news, so the Supreme Court has stated for all you students who are appearing for board examinations that the assessment criteria should be fixed at the earliest. Then disengagement at LAC unfinished. The Ministry of External Affairs has confirmed that the border of India and China is still volatile. The situation there is still of heavy engagement. That apart from Pangong Tso Lake, everywhere else there is a risk of active war between them because of disengagement proceeding unfinished. There is also no clarity on next round of talks, which the reason why I've highlighted this is to put or remind you that one of the topic for current affairs over the time period for CLAD 2021 is Indo-China border dispute. Then on the right hand side, norms for employing retired officials defined. Fresh rules require vigilance clearance. This is regarding employment of retired officials at different positions. In this regard, On the side of it is also the case that we discussed yesterday in terms of information that officers can produce in terms of their memoirs, biographies, autobiographies, that a specific permission would be required. Why do we need that? So let's say there is a policy, some national security interest policy that was passed, or there were some cabinet meetings that took place. Now you want to highlight that how the government of that day was incompetent or dragged its feet over this, that there was already intel information. For example, a lot of literature is available about the 1962 war. Different soldiers had written memoirs about the 1962 war, blaming the government, blaming the policymakers, blaming their officials for what had happened on the ground. A lot of it then was compiled by the government then to come up with suggestions to avoid a repeat of it, which bore fruit for us in 1965 and 1971 and also in 1999. So in that regard, that kind of information will be very limitedly available. That a lot of literature about 1990 and Pakistan's hand in it, and how much info we had, or how the then Prime Minister's action, that is VP Singh's action, had led to the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits from the valley, because intel was already available that terrorists had infiltrated the valley and this was being planned, but the administration then dragged its feet. So all of those information would now require specific permission of the government before being published, is the new rules. Then moving on the, so this Serum Institute 2 seeks indemnity from liability. So international manufacturers have been given or granted indemnity. Now Serum Institute, which is manufacturing the Covishield vaccine, has claimed that, see, if you are giving it to international manufacturers, give it to us also. Alright, so this is the claim they have made against the government. However, till now, no Indian company or the union government has claimed that a single death had taken place because of vaccines, and therefore no requirement of payment has come at all. Alright, then apart from this is two news. First, the Israel coalition has been agreed to form a government in Israel and ousting of Benjamin Netanyahu. So this is opposition leader Yair Lapid along with his other, that is Naftali Bennett and Mansour Abbas. So they probably have now the majority in the House to 61. But late night reports had come in from Israel that Benjamin Netanyahu has postponed the vote. So a session of the parliament, that is the Knesset, needs to take place, but that the coalition members wanted it to take place on Monday or today itself, that is Friday or Saturday, but that has now been thwarted by Benjamin Netanyahu and probably take place a little later. This will give him time to broker a new deal with other members to retain power. The reason why he needs to retain power, we have discussed it multiple times. It is once again highlighted in this article here, that see, the moment he's out, corruption cases that are pending against him can be pursued, which would threaten his long-standing position. Alright, so this is the updates from Israeli politics. The reason the change of guard is also important is based on the sustainability of peace in terms of Israel and Hamas, and the solution to Israel-Palestine at large. Then on the right hand side, the Vice President of United States, Kamala Harris, spoke to Prime Minister Modi yesterday and confirmed that US will be sharing vaccines with India, and a detailed plan of how US will be giving out vaccines to different population across the world under COVAX and to its neighboring countries and different regional partners in terms of how much will it be sharing. No specific detail has been given out how much India will get. US has only claimed that it will provide it on a regional basis. So we still don't know how much we'll get, but this was the conversation that has taken place. This is part of what was discussed in Quad also, and in terms of what the government had sought for its shortage of vaccines at large. Apart from this, The Sri Lankan government is now bracing for oil spill from the cargo vessel. The name of the cargo vessel, that is MV Express Pearl, becomes important for all of you to note. Alright. Apart from this, NASA has also announced 2 new missions to Venus. The name of the missions have not yet been confirmed, but this will be important in terms of understanding the climate at Venus at large. Then moving on the economics and sporting page, nothing of real note. The dress code for Indian Olympic contingent has been unveiled yesterday. That is the news from sporting page. Their dress code, the clothes of the athletes, all of that. On that note, I'll conclude for the day. Do make notes from the Sustainable Development Goals Index. That is very important. Apart from this, do a brief reading of what the Kedarnath case is. Section 124A of the IPC is very important from your legal section. And third, we'll be discussing the Q&A section of intermediary rules and overreach tomorrow. So give that a read. Place your doubts in the comment section so that I can address them while I do the explanation of it tomorrow. On that note, I'll conclude for the day. Take care all of you, and I will see you all tomorrow.